People deluded. Now, I can't speak for not everybody in it, but I rate Unai Emery as a manager, as a man, as all the philosophies and all them other footballing stuff. I rate Unai Emery, and I believe he's the man for Arsenal. At least if he proves in hindsight not to be, at this moment in time, I'm backing him because I'm backing him. I'm backing him in it. I mean, it'd be silly to call for him to be sacked because he's not done nothing sack worthy. But that being said, there are some things that have been concerning me since he's joined the club, or some things that play on my mind. Now, I'm sure most of you fans are logical, and although Arsenal fans talk in extremes, most of you that subscribe to me and watch me, are you here because you like balance, you can admit that Unaiemery's done a lot of good, but there's also something that worries. Or you can just admit that you like to call it how you see it, sort of thing. It's that you praise him and then you ask questions of things you don't understand. That's all I'm doing. One thing that concerns me, I like how he's a tactician of sorts, and how I actually like how he doesn't necessarily rate any of these players and will chop and change and stuff. There's a lot to like about Unai Emery, but there's also a lot I don't understand. We know there's a dynamic going on in terms of Ozil and Ramsey. The first thing that scares me is how he deals with personalities. Now, you look at the stars and the egos he had to deal with at PSG to Arsenal, it's complete 360, but the parallels stay the same. It's all good being a great tactician and all of these things, but how you deal with player relations say it all. If you look at Isco, when he sold Isco, forgive me if I'm wrong, and to be fair, he does have a lot of good relations with players and stuff like that. But if I look at star players or just egos and stuff and things like that, it scares me. You look at not only playing Verratti out of position when he was at PSG, but just damn right not getting on with the guy and alienating him to a degree. He didn't get on with Neymar. If you look at reports, these are all reports. Dani Alves became disillusioned because how he was treating other players. Lucas Moura said he was the worst manager, or the 7 months he was there was one of the worst in hell. That of him personally under Unai Emery at PSG. I'm not saying PSG was he was there for 7 months. You look at Krakow, he actually said a player he worked with at Seville. He said he don't really rate Unai Emery because he brought him there under false pretenses. You look at how he alienated Thiago Silva, if in case I haven't said that already. And there's probably some other examples, obviously factoring Ozil and a couple other things. And he also said something the other day about he wants to win through friction. He likes to create friction in players. Now, I'm taking a bit of what he said out of context because a lot of what he said is good. But handling of players, that's almost, as I was trying to say before I got sidetracked, that's almost as important or even more important than being a good tactician in today's day and age, because player power is a strong thing. 10 years ago or something, or not even 10, because 09 it was quite big, but you know what I mean, early 2000s, 90s and 80s, for those of you that were about, apologies for the low battery people, you could give players a bollocking or whatever, and whether rightly or wrongly, they could take it in, or they had to take it. Now they're on the phone to their agents, or other players are seeing that and asking what's why, and they're creating little tribes and stuff. You look at Jose Mourinho. If it was just based on tactics, yeah, he's fallen off, but he's a master tactician. How he deals with relations of players is how it hasn't worked out for him at Man United. Second time round at Chelsea, first time round at Chelsea, how it went sour at Madrid. These sort of things. I'm not saying it's right what players do, but how you deal with these sort of things makes the difference. So if he's doing this to the star players, I have to wonder, how does he speak with the other players and stuff like that? It does leave me with concern, especially we know, I'm not going to get into the macro of it, but in regards to Ozil, the language has kind of changed. I mean, it was, if we look at one of the quotes, we want to give him the position where he feels best on the pitch. This was in pre-season. We are working together and giving the responsibility to the player. I think he can take that responsibility of being the captain, but let's not forget Koscielny, because he's captain as well, Peter Cech and Aaron Ramsey, who have also played captains in friendlies. So you see what I'm saying, people? If this is someone that he spoke as a captain, playing him in his best position, backed him over the Germany kerfuffle, and he's now doing all of these stuff and saying these tactical reasons and stuff like that, then what does this mean for how he deals with players? Because I'm not going to sit here and say every player is doing this and he's poison, because he's not. There's a lot of players who praise him and things like that. But yeah, really, it scares me, to be honest with you, because I think he's a good tactician. I think he's a good manager. I think he can get things right and things like that. I trust in Unai, but it's just some things like probably just his over pragmatic approach at times on a football pitch, and probably how he deals with players' relations. But as that goes on, we'll see more. And I don't really know. I'm just speculating. These are the two things I'm kind of thinking. Do you see what I'm saying, people? And like I said, if we look at his PSG work, even with a former player, I'm sure if we went and looked at Valencia, his time at Valencia or Almeria and things like that, as I said, there's great examples of his player relations, but there's also bookie ones. Now, we also know Wenger's biggest strength and biggest weakness was his player relations. He trusted too much in players. That was his downfall. But there was a bit more, you could see how there can kind of be harmony there, and this fills me with scariness because you see James Rodriguez links. Now, I don't think James Rodriguez is going to sign for this club, but he's a big ego, a superstar, and things like that. So it doesn't matter who the player is. If he comes in, and it might completely be different, but if he was to come in, what would happen then when he doesn't track back? Because you, James Rodriguez is probably, he appears more all action than Ozil. But if you looked at the stats, I wouldn't be surprised to say Ozil tracks back more. You know, because they both really and truly switch off defensively. They both look at. There's many times Rodriguez hasn't tracked runners. He can be very hot and cold. He is a bit of a Mesut Ozil type in that you kind of need to put a hand around them and they can become disheartened and things like that. It's not more or less different position, but a Roy Keane or something in that he'll pick himself up. So it makes me feel like if he can't handle this, obviously we're a long way from getting star players and things like that. But if we was ever to get a star player or someone like that, or just someone that was a big player for us, what does that mean for them as well? I'm not too sure. Again, I'm just speculating, people. I'm just speculating. It's just one of the things I've always thought on, and if I'm thinking of it, you man must be thinking of it too. Again, I'm not criticising Unai Emery. I'm not saying he needs to get sacked and all of this madness that some people come in my comments and say. I'm just asking the question and playing devil's advocate more or less. Man, his treatment of players kind of concerns me at times. More the star players or the big egos and stuff, and maybe because of what they did to him at PSG and the stars he had to deal with, he just came to Arsenal and said, I ain't got no patience for this. I'm not dealing with it. Like I've said in many of it, there's probably few managers that have taken two jobs on two opposite ends of the scale, like Unai Emery, because he's going from a team that want to win stuff in PSG, expected to win their league, domestic league, to Arsenal, which we could only dream of winning the Carabao Cup right now. They're trying to win champs. We're trying to win our club back. You see what I'm saying? Two different sort of things, two very different ones. You've got the owners at PSG that you have to deal with. You've obviously got them bringing in players. You've got stars. Now you've got Arsenal where it's more or less he's not making the decisions. You get what I'm saying, people? I'm sure you do. It's just something that played on my mind, man, to be fair with you. Yeah, to be very fair with you. But, yeah, that's it, to be fair. Like, that's all I wanted to say. On that note, I'm going to get out of your lot's hair, man. So, people, deluded, I'm out. Thank you very much for watching.